Racing's pursuit of victory has pushed us to the front of the pack, to the brink of destruction, and across the finish line for decades. Regardless of the driver, the vehicle, or the terrain, these are the wheels that will help you win by a landslide. The process of relentlessly redefining performance cannot be learned or taught. It's in our DNA.
Of off-road racing dominance, proprietary patented race technology, proudly made in the USA, unparalleled customer service and support. The choice of champions, King Shocks, the leader in off-road shock technology.
Your locally owned Bill Alexander Ford has the vehicles you want. F-Series, Bronco, Expedition, Edge, Explorer, Escape, and Ranger. And try our mobile service for light maintenance. We will come to you. For a difference you can count on, visit us in person or go to BillAlexanderFord.com.
Stacy Clark here, owner and general manager of Unlimited RV. As racers, we know how important time is. Not bad, kid. 5 seconds faster. As racers, we know how important reliability is. At Unlimited RV, we have lifetime warranty, so you know we've got you covered. At Unlimited RV, we offer nationwide free shipping, so you don't have to waste your time getting into the RV or motorhome for your next big adventure.
Hey, kids, boys and girls around the world, welcome to this episode of Fishgistics, the wrap-up show from the Baja 1000. My name is Cameron Steele. I'll be your host today, also part of the driving crew for the number 16 at the Baja 1000. We'll tell stories, we'll tell lies, we'll share opinions, and remember, this is all opinion-based fun, so don't go to the bank with it. I'd like to first bring in my co-host and the founder of Fishgistics, Austin Fish Farner. I'm sure when these guys get an email from Austin, they're probably confused who they're getting it from, Fish.
Yeah, they probably don't even know who that is. They're like, who's this guy? Probably goes their spam filter.
Well, that's where it goes for me. Actually, you're on my do not answer list, which I'm very shocked that I jumped in here with you guys today, but I'm stoked to be here. What a great Baja 1000 overall, Fish. I know you did a lot of tracking and you've done a lot of work to set up the show today. Quickly, we will have a bike segment with some superheroes and some new faces here at Fishgistics. Kendall Norman, Tanner Janaski, Brandon Wright, David Hunter. Then we're going to get into the UTVs with Brandon Sims, Austin Whelan, Caden Wells, and RJ Anderson. In our third segment, we're going to go spec truck racing with Eli Kiger, Justin Davis, Riley Herbst, and Oliver Flement. And then our fourth segment, we're going to talk trophy trucks, trophy turkeys, donkeys, country clubbers, whatever you want to say it. We have the stars of the class, Luke McMillan, Rob McCackern, your winners of the Baja 1000. They'll be with us, as well as the runner-up, Dan McMillan and Josh Daniel. And, of course, myself, driver, the number 16. Hey, that's a banger of a show, Fish. Good job, Rat, making it all happen, buddy.
Hopefully they all show up. We'll see. All the bike guys showed up, so that puts a lot of pressure on the truck guys. So we'll see.
Let's introduce them really quick. First of all, a quick hello to the legend. I'm not sure how many times you've won the Baja 1000 now, but Kendall Norman has joined us from, it looks like maybe the inside of one of his vans getting ready to go riding.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure to be on the show.
Right on. We have Tanner Janaski. I'm not sure if I said that exactly correctly, but he is your winner of the Ironman class. And we'll talk about his story, stopping to help a down rider and going on to win the race. Congratulations, Tanner.
Thank you.
Also, my good buddy who I ride Rip to Cabo with and have spent quite a bit of time in Baja and watching him train for this. He led the Ironman class for quite a distance. He is your Ironman class champion for SCORE this year, Brandon Wright from the High Desert. Welcome, Brandon.
What's up, Cameron? Glad to be here.
Stoked to have you. And also David Hunter, one of the most talked about post-race interviews, joins us. He has some history with both myself and Kendall Norman, he was telling us a little bit ago. But David, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Cameron. This is gonna be fun.
It's going to be a good time. Let's talk bikes really quick. I want to start out, I'm sorry, on a downer. It hurts my heart to say that we did lose a rider pre-running at the Baja 1000. He is a friend of some friends. Ben Binkley is his name, and it's been reported on social media. And I just wanted to say that whenever our community loses anybody, it hurts our hearts. And I wanted to say that our well wishes, our thoughts, and our prayers are with his family and all that loved him. Thinking about you today, Ben, as we move forward to talk story and have a little bit of fun talking about Baja, which is a place that I hear from your friends that you truly loved. Our thoughts are with you. Getting to the fun of it, it's always hard to shift gears from the downside to the upside, but this Baja 1000 had a grueling course that was laid out, 828.5 miles of pure hell in some cases. It was really tough. And Kendall, I wanted to talk to you. You guys hadn't raced a SCORE race this year. You teamed up with the SLR team with Mark Samuels, who's had great success, and Justin Morgan, who is a beast on the motorcycle. And you guys had a great day. You guys bit off some big segments each, didn't you?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, having a 3-man strategy, just was definitely, I think Justin took down like 280 miles before giving the bike to Mark. And then Mark somewhere in the 200 range. And then I did, the Mike's loop, which was like 250 back to El Alamo. And then Justin went to the finish.
Right on. Is it how is it for you? I know you've been involved with a number of wins, racing on different teams. I know you raced some with Johnny, some with others, with Kendall, with Quinn and Steve, and of course now with a new team, you continue to bring success. How many Baja 1000 wins is that for you, Kendall?
This will mark my 8th win.
Incredible, just unbelievable. And I know you've been working on the rally stuff. Do you think working on with the bigger bikes and some of the rally stuff has changed some of the way you come to the Baja 1000 or set up for it?
Yeah, definitely. I have more experience and just seeing the way those big boys do it. I can definitely implement some of their tactics to my strategy. But Baja's Baja.
For sure. Baja has the final word and the last say every time. That's what I always say. You're not racing the other competitors. You're racing Baja. And speaking of racing Baja, you talk about racing with 3 partners. Tanner, welcome to the show. You are the Ironman class winner. When you hear Kendall talking about those big segments, it's obviously you're probably not going the pace that they are going, but racing all the miles is a pretty incredible feat.
Yeah, absolutely. Hearing those segments, any one of those definitely beats you up. But when you combine them all together, the effect is just compounded in terms of fatigue and wear and tear on your body.
One of the things I wanted to ask you was, the riders, for instance, Justin Morgan, who's I think started the bike is what Kendall said, and he raced to a certain distance. He's able to set up for that night run in the cold of Ojos Negros, and then he's going to, change his clothes when he gets down to the desert, or he's going to get off the bike and be able to change his clothes. You're going to still be on the bike. Do you have different setups that you change into along the way based on the temperatures and where you think you're going to be on the track during the day?
Yeah, the temperature is definitely challenging because you have to do all these changes of gear on the fly. The clock never stops for when you have to change. So yeah, I had kind of a layering strategy and used different layers of jacket and windbreakers. But even still, it's hard to prepare. Like that first section around mile 70 to 90, it was about 18 degrees. I had a wireless thermometer on my backpack that reading to my GPS. So dropped all the way to 18, and then I was below freezing for a good chunk of that. But then of course you drop down the hill and it warms up. So it's always a challenge. You're never going to be comfortable.
Yeah, frozen hands going down the Los Pinos summit doesn't sound like a good time to me. 18 degrees never sounds like a good time to me. I don't like the cold personally. So I run grip heaters on my bike. Do you guys do anything like that on your bikes?
No, I don't.
No.
Now, Brandon makes fun of me on the trips.
They're not a wuss like you, I guess, right? Is that why your name is
right.
AB?
That's my nickname, right? And Brandon spent a ton of time with me on the trips. Brandon, I know you went into this. It's a pretty interesting story. You actually had a crash and an injury, broken rib or ribs, and a doctor suggested that you go back home. Tell us a little bit about what happened and how that played out.
Yeah, well, I got to Baja early, probably like a little over 2 weeks before the race, and I was trying to get some early pre-running in. And about 3 days into the pre-running, I had almost done the whole course. I was just going back to kind of hit some spots again already. Had a little crash, kind of low speed. I hurt some ribs. I didn't go get x-rays or nothing. I kind of rode for another day and a half. And then everything, it wasn't hurting too bad, but then I felt something pop on the last day. And I was like, all right, I should go get an x-ray. So I went and got an x-ray in San Felipe, and they said it was the rib up front completely cracked in half, and that I could risk puncturing a lung if I keep riding. So I kind of got bummed out and went home and just kind of sat around the house for 5 days eating pizza rolls, drinking beer, and just kind of feeling sorry for myself. Then I went and got more x-rays, and they said there was one cracked in the back too, but they didn't say anything about a hazard of anything else happening. So I just kind of said, screw it, I'm coming back, and then just raced, and it all kind of worked out. It wasn't really that big of a deal.
Congratulations on your Ironman championship. That's definitely something to tout. I know you would have liked to win the race, which we know that Tanner did. You had a failure on your bike or equipment along the way. I know there was a point when you were leading. So I was just curious if you wanted to talk about that. What happened there?
Yeah, at around race mile 700, after going up the goat trail from Valley T, whatever that was, I felt my handlebars doing something weird, and one of the bolts sheared off in the triple clamp that hold your handlebars on. So that turned into a little bit of a fiasco, trying to get that all swapped out, but we ended up making it happen. But after that, everything kind of started going downhill for me. But it all worked out. Ended up finishing. So
maybe stopping and losing some of that adrenaline there to fix the bike.
I think that was a big part. It was kind of a little bit of a mental downer, and then everything. I started trying to push, and I crashed a few times. And anyways, it all kind of went downhill.
Copy. And speaking of stopping, Tanner, this is a big story that's been going around. I know my friend Gio, a friend of all Baja racers, crashed down in the San Felipe area, and we talked about this not stopping as an Ironman, but you were stopped for quite a long time and received Good Samaritan time back. Talk us through a little bit about what happened there.
Yeah, mile 367, I was running in second right behind Brandon, and came across a bike, and Vance Kennedy was already on the scene, and Gio was just laying in the middle of the course. So I knew I had to pull off. I can't ride by somebody on the ground. So I pulled off, and as I'm pulling off, I'm looking at Gio laying on the ground, and I hit the same huge hidden rock that he hit that made him crash. And I went over the bars, the bike lands on me and hurts my back. But just quickly get up, and my face is bleeding at this point, my nose is bleeding, and just evaluate the situation, see what's going on. And he seemed to be in pretty rough shape, couldn't move his arms, couldn't really move his legs well. And then eventually Vance left. I had a sat phone in my pack, so I called my crew, and then eventually helicopter. And they initially said they were sending a UTV, but Gio mentioned just that he really needs a helicopter, because I wasn't really sure the extent of the injuries. But got the helicopter in, helicopter lands, we help bandage him up, and then get him on the stretcher and load it into the helicopter and off to hopefully place he can get stabilized.
Gotta be hard to get back on the bike after all that.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely tough witnessing somebody as experienced as Giovanni hit a rock that he doesn't even see, and it could happen to any of us. That's the scary part about racing Baja. You're going such high speeds in these washes, and there's just rocks the same color as the sand, and they're covered in sand from the trucks riding over them, and you just can't see them. And you could do everything you can to mitigate risk, but the risk is always there. So it's tough after seeing firsthand somebody on the ground like that.
Well, thank you to not only yourself, but the other riders that stopped to help and score for getting him out of there. It's Ironman, 828 miles. Kendall, that's when you start thinking about all those miles and everything they go through, whether it's wardrobe changes and all that. I mean, I know you actually soloed one of the score races quite a while back, but what you guys are doing is quite a bit different. And the way you guys prepare, it seems like you guys had a flawless day. Was there anything in your program that you would change? I mean, obviously winning the race has changed nothing, but do you feel like there's anything you would change on your day, or was it just perfect for you?
Yeah, I mean, as far as my day went, I mean, I had a little bit of pre-race stress, just it's a lot taken in, your mind's racing, you know, and then man, the guys brought me the bike with a big lead. So that was really a big relief. And yeah, it's just kind of like, you know, we didn't have a helicopter. So that safety, we didn't have that safety. So, and then having a big lead too, I think I just really put it in like cruise control, kind of like maybe I was a little too conservative off the beginning, but yeah, I just tried to find that like flow state. And a lot of times when there's stress and yeah, different things happening, I seem to get to that place sooner. And when I was a little relaxed, maybe it took me longer before I got my full rhythm in. But yeah, once I got there, it was just like, yeah, it was pretty good run, honestly.
Awesome. Well, anybody that's ridden with you, Kendall, can attest to your flow and style, and watching you ride is pretty amazing, buddy. Congratulations again. Let's bring in the newer face to the Fishgistics here. David Hunter has some story to tell, some talk. Fish, I think you have a clip you're going to play.
Yeah.
David, introduce him.
Out of every clip during the race, this clip got the most views. And here we'll show you guys the clip again. This clip has multiple, a few million views now. So wow. Here, let me just bring it up for you guys. I think this might be the greatest interview of all time. Let's see here. Here we go.
Yeah, I feel good. We lost everything in the bike, no clutch, nothing left. Had to go the last 60 miles, about 30 miles an hour. Going through Ojos Negros 2 different times. The Mexicans came out and pushed me over a couple of hills. That's how great it was. But that's Baja. We love it. Every year my wife says, hey, Dave, we should probably save for a little college education. And every year I say, no, college is overrated. Our kids are stupid anyways. What does that matter? Let's go race the Baja. Woo! And that being said, a couple of my dumb kids are down there. Jake, love you. Ben, love you. They won't be going to college, but they will be Baja champions.
Yeah, I like that. There you go.
Well, dang, Dave, way to send it. It says next to your name you're disqualified. I'm sure it wasn't for your podium interview, because that was a lot of fun. But what happened with the team? Obviously, you're having fun doing what you're doing.
We're having so much fun, but you know, we were doing it for 15 years, and it's amazing how stupid we can still all be. We get that really overconfident guy that really hasn't been down there, and he took the sportsman's cutoff at the bottom of the course.
Oh.
After he did that sportsman's cutoff, we put him in a truck, drove him back down. He did the bottom loop, and then he did the loop again that he already did. So he did 150 extra miles. And to this day, score won't tell us why we got disqualified. We got no race advantage, added 6 hours to our time. And it is the fastest team that we've ever assembled. Kendall, do you know Shane Nurden, Kendall? He won the USRA this year, but
no
team. We had 2 Iron Riders that have Ironman it before they were on the team, and of course me, the anchor, the fast guy at the end that went 20 miles an hour the whole time. But we had this super stacked team this year. and to have a mistake like that take you out it's devastating.
Well, it definitely, when you're pre-running and, you're out there doing it, sometimes it's hard to tell, in the heat of the moment. I can pre-run a bunch of times and still go, wait, and my navigator will go, dude, you do this, you've been doing this for 30 years. You know where to go. And I can sympathize with a mistake being made in navigation or whatever. You guys are by yourselves, the riders are by themselves, but it's a tough break. But it sounds like you guys had a good time nonetheless. It's pretty crazy that you guys went back down and re-ran that loop. That's a pretty wild story in itself.
Yeah, no, we were with the team and we said, hey, let's just do it this way or do that way. And as a team, we said, no, we're going to do it the right way. There's no way we're not going to finish the race and not going to do it correctly. So we went down and finished it, and we're still trying to figure out why score DQ'd us. But yeah, Cameron, my entire family and all the stories of my family all derive from Baja. My wife knows that when I die, my ashes will be Spectacross Baja. My 15-year-old put about 10,000 miles on his moto last year down in Baja. We are Baja through and through and through. We love, we're probably down there 3 months a year.
I can personally attest to the excitement of Baja and the passion, and I love to see it in everybody else. I spent quite a bit of time there myself, and it never seems like it's enough. As we're sitting here currently plotting our Rip to Cabo for 2023, doing all the bookings, which I assume Brandon will be with us. Brandon, you seem like you seem stoic a little bit. I like it when you show up in the purple suit with the big attitude. Are we going to see some of that, Brandon, today?
I don't know. I'm a little bit nervous,
The pressure of a couple 100,000 fans watching on Fishgistics. I can feel it myself.
And honestly, like during the race, the Ironman class was getting a lot of attention this time because you guys had a lot of entries this race. And when I was doing my hourly updates, every single hour somebody was asking me where somebody on one of the Ironman bikes was. So it was pretty fun to follow you guys. And I didn't know exactly what was going on, but Brandon, you had a pretty good lead for most of the day. Obviously, Tanner, you were stopped. I didn't know why at the time, and then seeing you at the end there, Brandon, when I saw you kind of stop for a little bit and then he started falling back and I was like, is he out of steam? Was he riding too fast? And he at the beginning to get a big lead or what? But then after, hearing what happened with the handlebars and everything, it makes more sense. So yeah, I feel bad for you because you did have a good run going there. I mean, you finished still, but that's Baja, right?
It's all part of Baja. I'm sure all of us had all kinds of things we had to conquer out there. So it's all part of the game.
So what's your opinion? The longer miles peninsula run, that's tougher, or the loop race with the shorter miles, but sometimes rougher course? I mean, it depends on what scores throws at you each year, but how does the timing for the Ironman, Tanner? Which one takes longer to do?
Well, I think the peninsula runs definitely take longer, but definitely per mile, the loop races are a lot rougher on your body.
Brandon, your thoughts on that?
I can't speak from experience. I've never done a full peninsula run, Ironman style, but I would have to agree with what he said. It seems like there's a lot more long, fast roads and stuff the further south you get. So I'm sure a little easier physically, but.
Why do both of you think there were so many Ironman entries this time around? Start with you, Brandon.
It's a good question. I don't really have a good answer for that. I don't know for sure. Just
Tanner?
A bunch of people trying to get through their midlife crisis or something.
There's some of the.
Yeah, definitely that. And I don't know. Selfishly, it could be a combination of the movies that my dad had produced. The Into the Dust series have several million views on YouTube now. So a lot of people have mentioned to us directly that those movies are the reason why they're there racing Ironman.
Interesting. I'm sure the Dust to Glory story as well. Kendall, do you get people hitting you up once in a while about talking about racing Baja? Different stuff?
Yeah, no, for sure I do. It happens.
That look says it all. I always just shake my head. David, we're gonna start wrapping up here. What's next for you, buddy? Sorry you didn't have the greatest of days, but it sounds like you came out of it with a lot of fun.
just back. We'll be down and we'll go do a 1,000-mile ride in March, and we'll do about another 1,000 miles in June, just for fun. But yeah, the whole experience has been pretty funny. The comments that came across on this video that I did were the funniest things I've ever seen. Like I'm ruining generations of families because I'm not sending kids to college. They called me a racist because I said the Mexicans helped me over the hill. I mean, it's been one of the funniest things to see what people opine over what I was thinking. But
yeah, after you're tired, beat up at the end of the race, I hear you. Brandon, what's next for you, buddy?
Not really sure. Just trying to get through the end of the year. I'm gonna have to do a lot of work since I missed a lot of work for all this Baja stuff. So I'm pretty much every day.
What's your daytime look like? What is it that you do?
I'm a lineman for SoCal Edison, so just out trying to keep the power on or shut it off if it needs to be. So
right on, keeping the lights out. And Tanner, next for you, buddy.
Kind of the same as Brandon, catching up on a lot of work. I don't do this full time or anything, so just working on my air purification business.
Right on. And Kendall, I know you're probably out testing or doing something for the next move. What's on your plate?
Yeah, definitely keep riding and having fun. We'll definitely be doing some testing and whatnot, but yeah, nothing really too big to speak of.
Right on. Well, it's been fun having all the moto guys here today. I know it's a little bit of a short segment, but we're stoked to share with you guys, to hear your stories. And I congratulate you all for each of your successes and finishes and everything that you guys went through. Blessings to you all. And we're going to step it up, Fish, to a different category, not step it up, but step it over to another category that we have in the waiting room. Thank you all, bike guys. Everybody,
guys.
Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right.
Thank
Good
you.
year.
I'll see
Thank
you guys.
for being here. We're going to now step over to the UTV category for those of you that haven't been around.
Hold on, here we go.
Yep. Those of you that maybe don't know it, the UTVs have been having massive entries. There's quite a few stars here that we'll be able to talk to. I'm stoked to get to know some of them. I don't know very well. Some I do know pretty well. One that I definitely know well, I can already see his smiling faces there. And I'll say hello to my karaoke partner from years ago, RJ Anderson. Welcome to Fishgistics, buddy.
And he's muted. RJ, you gotta
unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, everybody in the top of the box there.
Oh, how about that?
That's the way I like your karaoke, is muted. I tried to get him to mute your microphone that one night.
My mic or your mic? Dude, I was kidding.
All the above. Well, welcome, RJ. Stoked to have you here. I also like to welcome Austin Wieland. Am I saying that right, Austin? Weiland. Okay, I'll fix that up. Thanks for the correction. Caden Wells is here. Caden, how are you?
Good. How about you?
Well, I'm doing great. I'm here on Fishgistics. People are watching. Hopefully I don't make a fool out of myself. And Brandon Sims is here. What's up, Brandon?
What's going on, guys?
Oh, we're just living the dream over here. Media moguls, Fishgistics style. People are watching. I hope you guys are ready to talk story, because we're going to talk Baja 1000. And there are some amazing results in here. I think that we have the first in class for, is there 3 UTV classes out there, not counting sportsmen? Is that right?
There's more.
There is?
I don't even know how many there is.
Well, we got 3 winners and a podium finisher. RJ Anderson, our podium third. Everybody else won their category. Brandon, let's talk with you first. First overall UTV. That's got to feel pretty good. I know that you've had great success along the way, but that's always a pretty cool trophy to win and take home from the Baja 1000.
Yeah, for sure. Last year we went down to do the Peninsula run, and we got beat out by Phil Blurton at the end there. So to come back and actually, battle for an overall this year was pretty fantastic. Had a great time. Obviously I'm in the new Polaris Pro R. I think this is their big win with that machine. It's a pretty amazing, machine. I'm sure you guys are starting to see, what these things are capable of. And I mean, the suspension travel, the power that we have now, it all works super well together.
Right on. Well, congratulations on that. It's good to see you get a little redemption, right? Coming back after battling out with Phil. And Austin Weiland, first UTV Turbo. Austin, congratulations on that. I know you've been doing quite a bit of development stuff. You work with Doug Fortin on some stuff as well?
Yeah, I think we got all our drivetrain stuff pretty figured out with Doug, so we're happy about that. We've been this whole year we've not had any drivetrain failures, which is nice. And last year, towards the end of the year, is the same thing. So I think we got everything developed pretty good for the Can-Am.
Yeah, for 1,000 miles, Austin, you got to think about it a little bit. 828 miles in this case. I mean, you can go, but you got to get to the finish line too.
Yeah, you got to beat Baja first to win. But we went into this race. I told Brandon and Phil at the start, I was like, I think we should push hard at the start and see what happens. And they both looked at me like I was crazy. And then I went out there and pushed hard from the start, and that allowed me to get through before the bottlenecks and into San Felipe, and then pushed through there. Had a couple of small issues or cracked a tranny and had to stop every 40 miles, 30 miles to put oil in it from 475 to the finish. But other than that, it was a good race.
Yeah, well, you got to overcome what she throws at you, right? Caden, how was your race? I see that you won the naturally aspirated class. All kinds of different classes available, but it's cool. The non-turbo classes definitely have some horsepower in it.
Yeah, we had a good race. One of the cleanest. I think the 400 was probably our cleanest race we've had, and this one being our second cleanest race, and just very small issues. And it was also the first time we had someone else drive our car besides our family members.
Oh, right on. That's always big, letting go of the steering wheel, someone that's not part of the family.
Yeah, it was definitely different. We had JD driving, and he ran flawless section as well, so it ended up turning out pretty good.
Yeah, well, you got the trophy, so I'd say it turned out really well.
Yeah,
I know that I let all you guys go first because I know this guy can speak and he might take over the whole show, but he's also very well spoken. You guys are all doing a great job as well. RJ, welcome to the show, man. I'm stoked to see you here. And last time I saw you, I think was at the Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame, where your dad was inducted. True story that your dad raced with you at this race?
Yeah, you guys brought me on here with some fast guys. I figured I was just brought in here to be the heckler, so you guys had someone to make fun of. So,
well, you're the eye candy.
Well, you did get first place in the taco reviews, because I didn't see any of these guys doing taco reviews. All right, so you won something.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I figured. I won the hearts of everyone at home for the race. So yeah, no, it was rad seeing you at the Hall of Fame, Cam. Yeah, really cool special race for me. When we were doing the 1,000, obviously we kind of come from the short course world. So like when I look at a 1,000-mile race, I'm like, I have fun doing about 100 miles. I can go 200, anything over 300. I'm like, that's just brutal. I don't know how some of these guys sign up for being in the seat for so long, but my hat's off to them for sure. So we started looking into having a third driver, because just trusting me and my brother to go even 840 miles, whatever it was, is too much. My dad's chimed in like, I'll go as far as you want. So it was a pretty special race. Me, my brother, and then my dad got to get in for the last. He did about 140 miles and kept it together for the finish. So it was a pretty cool deal to be able to do it with my family for sure.
For sure, man. It's really cool. I love spending time talking to your dad. I got to spend a good amount of time with him in Crandon, and seeing his excitement around you guys racing is one thing, but it's really cool to see him out racing. I'm super stoked to see that. Hey, Brandon, let's talk about the camaraderie of the UTV group. Now, you guys, three of you are in different categories. RJ's obviously a big star. You guys, we're talking a second ago. Austin was saying that he talked to you guys before the race. How is the camaraderie in UTV? Because I feel like in trophy truck, we have a pretty good relationship with the guys around us we're racing against. Of course, in the desert, we can only count on the other racers. But how is that camaraderie? Different brands, different tires, different setups, different classes. Do you guys work together, talk together, pre-run together? What's the feeling like in the classes?
Yeah, I can't speak for other classes, like you're in the trophy truck class and stuff like that, but definitely speaking for our class, just like Austin was saying, I went up to him at the beginning of the race. He was in his Can-Am, and, I went up to him and said hi, how he was doing and what his plan was. And that's when he told me he was basically going to, go for it. I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. But as far as camaraderie goes, I think I could probably speak for almost everybody in our class. If you were in a different manufacturer, whatever it may be, brand, whatever it is, if you pulled into a pit, needed a part, a tool, anything, probably even much as, fuel, just to keep you going. I've had so many other teams come up to me and say, hey, if there's anything you need, pull into our pit. We're happy to help you, whether it be, whether water, whatever it may be. All these people are always, looking to give us help. I don't know if that's how it is in other classes. I can only speak for our class, but yeah, the camaraderie between the UTV class is something different, that I've never really experienced. I've raced small races, I've raced big races, and it seems to be the same. I don't know if it's maybe that we have a little bit less budget to work with. Most of the people that are racing these classes, it takes everything we've got to go out there and race. So every little bit helps between everybody. So if everybody can pitch in a little bit here or there, we all get to go out and race each other, and it's a pretty stacked field. There's a lot of people. I think the competition is very, very tight, between all of us. There's not huge advantages that one manufacturer or one racer has over another. It's not quite a spec class, but we're all pretty similar, as far as engine size, power, suspension, tires. So, it's nice to know that you're going out and racing against everybody on a pretty level playing field. So, it's nice that we have the camaraderie that we do, because it sure does make it nice. If there's anything you need, almost any team's willing to help you.
I understand that. That's the way we run our program for sure. And Austin, that we talked a little bit about your relationship with Doug Fortin, who obviously has won the Baja 1000. Do you guys work together on some of that engineering ideas? Is it purely car based, or is it also racing based? Is that stuff that you guys talk about?
Yeah. So I grew up with my dad. They grew up neighbors to Doug. So my grandpa and Doug Sr. are good friends. And then my dad and Doug are good friends. So we've always worked close with them from off-road. And then my dad was always chasing him. So as a kid, I was always down in Baja chasing Doug through there. And then for the UTV stuff, when we first decided to build one, he built the first one. I was like, hey, and we broke some parts. He's like, okay, let's make it better. And it just kind of just snowballed from there and went better and better and better. And after every race, I'll report back to him of what happened or what we need to change, this and that, and he'll make the necessary changes to get it to where we want to have it.
RJ, is the moniker of golf carts now gone? Is it still funny? Is it still a conversation topic? Is it something?
There's still golf carts.
Yeah, I joke with a bunch of people on it because as you were saying before, I actually haven't met Austin before. I think he started so far in front of us, it was too big of a walk to go to the back of the line in the UTV category. But Caden actually at the 1,000, I had a problem with one of my pre-runners, and him and his family lent me a part to get back going so we could keep pre-running. So the camaraderie and the UTV thing is definitely awesome, top notch. The racers are there to help each other, which is rad. But I always laugh because all you truck guys used to make fun of me for being a golf cart guy. Back, I don't know, 2010 to 2015. And now I would say 80% of the people that have made fun of me have stopped making fun of me. And then they text me asking for what kind of pricing deal I could get them on a golf cart.
Oh, so true. I love it. Hey, well, I just wanted to let you know something, RJ, that seeing you grow up in the sport, I never made fun of you simply because you were a UTV driver or a golf cart driver. I just made fun of you because I made fun of you. And every opportunity I get, whether it's on Fishgistics, TV, you name it, that shot's coming. So you just got to watch it because it's coming over the bow at any time.
Fair enough. I probably deserve every bit of it. But you are also a golf cart guy now too. What do you think coming from trophy trucks and stuff? You only do, I think, hammers, right?
We did hammers last year, but only for a short distance. The guy that wins the pit one doesn't usually win the race. So that kind of worked against us. But I was committed. We went out to the Mint and finished second in the unlimited class. And I love it, man. I'm having a great time. And the thing that's really interesting to me about the UTV is that it's very serious racing. And at the same time, it feels more open to people to come in. Like my daughter has ridden with me, not racing, but in the UTV, and she feels comfortable in it. And I feel comfortable bringing her in it. I've never put her in the trophy truck or the trophy truck pre-runner because it's just so damn serious. And having my wife crash the trophy truck back in 2015 taught us a lot about that. So I love the fact that the UTV is a very capable vehicle. It's faster than people think, I believe. And it does so many different things that I think it's good as a driver to be able to show your skills because there is so many different capabilities, but at the same time, it's easy to overdrive it and break it. So I think it shows a great driver and a great presence of mind for how you can drive it. And it makes you think about it. That's what I like the most about racing is using my head. And in the trophy truck, sometimes yeah, there's a 3 or 4 foot set of whoops for 80 miles and you go 100 miles an hour through it. Yes, it takes skill, but it's different when you're racing in the limited class, all-wheel drive, and trying to pick your lines and stuff. So I do really I enjoy it. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I'm stoked to be able to race with different people too, because I've been racing all these trophy truck nerds for so long. It's great to get out and race against some of the UTV community that have a great amount of skill, and I can learn stuff from every class I go in, just my opinion. So Caden, what do you think? Is it a crazy world of UTVs? Are the trophy truck guys really as big of dorks as they say out there? I mean, what do you really think?
I think it, I mean, it is crazy. I don't know. I don't know for sure. I was wondering if the trucks, if they seem like they were like like you driving a truck and a UTV, which one, I guess, like UTVs, a lot of them break, but also a lot of them finish, but like trucks, both same. Does a truck hold together better than a UTV, or?
I think that's a good question. I think that both are chronically overdriven by their drivers, personally speaking. I'm just speaking out loud. I think that at the Baja 1000, that we drove a good race, a fast pace, but it's a risky pace because, you know, you're asking a lot from this vehicle that has 40-inch tires and 1,000 horsepower. Do the UTVs, are they stronger? I don't think so. I think everything has a kind of a linear style of brake mold or brake over point, because you can drive it to its point of braking, then things are going to start to fail. And I think it's the same with the trophy truck, just the speeds are greater. But I would characterize that 60% of the class, no matter what class it is, has a tendency to overdrive their race vehicle. So it's chronic across the board. I don't think one is stronger than the other, but I think they both have a similar breaking point when you get to that level of abuse that you're putting on them. What do you think, Fish? You call the races, you see it from the outside. You know, I think the trophy truck guys are amazing, but I also think the UTV guys are amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I have a golf cart.
There's lots of mistakes made.
I have a golf cart now too, and it's really fun. I have a Pro R, and that thing is badass. Like, I've got almost 1,000 miles on mine, and I haven't, knock on wood, have one single issue with it. Now, I haven't raced it, but I've driven it pretty hard, you know, just pre-running and out fun, you know, having fun. We did the Baja 500 pre-run. I think they've advanced to the point where you can drive them at, you know, 80% and go the whole time. If you try to go 100%, you're going to find something that breaks. But a lot of people that get these are newer to racing too, right? It's a little newer class. So you get the guys that come in, they don't know what that 80% is. And the car, you know, the car will go 100% if you push the pedal. So I think it's, you know, these people have, the people on the show right here have been racing long enough to know what that difference is of like, okay, we can go faster right here, but we need to back down a little bit because it will break. So yeah, there is, you know, it has more power and it goes fast enough to break itself. Where like, if you look at a spec truck, it really doesn't go fast enough maybe to break itself. And that's why the spec trucks finish more than the trophy trucks do. I don't know, something like that. That's just what I think.
I have the most beautiful race car I've ever owned is my Mitchell Alsop built car that I have, the Can-Am. But I went out and overdrove it. I went out and trophy trucked it at King of the Hammers, and I needed to go to the Mint and learn and spend more time. And we're going to go out and race again to make sure when we get to Hammers, we're actually ready to compete. I mean, we've done well in other classes. We need to be able to compete in the UTV as well. Guys, if you were going to change something at the Baja 1000 or looking forward to next year, what you would do, what would be, what's in your game plan? What's in your thought process at this moment? Let's start off with Austin.
I have a lot of, we'll see what happens for next year, but I'd like to be able to run 35s. I think that'd be huge for the UTVs, especially in Mexico with the rocks are bigger and the whoops are bigger and it fills the hole quicker. I think that'd be a huge advantage, especially for the Pro Turbo class. We ran 35s at Hammers because there's just one class, and it was really fun to drive and race with the 35-inch tires. So I think if we could run 35s and score, and best in desert, but score, I think we'd actually have a higher finishing rate because you're not going to be hitting all those rocks and you're going to be a little higher off the ground. I think it could help everything at the cars, but it is more rotating mass. But I think it'd be fun to drive, and I think it could close the gap between the UTVs and the 10 cars a little bit closer.
Just to be clear on your comment, you'd like to run the 35 and the Pro Turbo because in the unlimited class where I race, we already raced the 35-inch BFG on our car. And I agree with you. It's a fun drive. We haven't seen major issues with it, but I have a feeling that you're going to get some pushback on that 35 from maybe manufacturers and people that have been around the class for a while. But I don't have a dog in the fight, but I will say that if you want to race on 35s, you can come over to San Felipe and race against the Desert Assassins in our Can-Am, because we're going to bring it down there and we'd love to wage war with you. Shots fired.
Shots fired.
Brandon, what about you? And Austin, I'm stoked to hear you thinking about pushing the class forward or your racing forward. You know, it takes racers forward thinking to make those next steps in desert racing. So Brandon, what about you? What do you got coming on? What are your thoughts?
I was thinking the same as Austin there, as far as the tire size. I mean, I'm capable of running 35s at this race. I could have, because I was obviously in the open class. I just wasn't sure that this Pro R is such a new platform for me. I didn't know what it was ready to handle. I didn't have a lot of time to test the vehicle at all before the race. So actually, not knowing what the 35s would do on it, I didn't want to find out at the 1,000. So I did run a 33-inch tire. I may have limited myself by doing that, but the 33 was something I was familiar with, so I stuck with it. The other thing that I've been noticing a huge difference with, at least with my program, is the advancement in our shocks. We run in the Fox live valve stuff, and that is something that I'm going to continue to work with Fox with and push the limits and stuff, advance everything that we can with those, because being able to adjust my suspension on the fly, whether we're up on a Mike Sky, on the faster roads, or down in San Felipe in the big whoops, or wherever it may be, changing my suspension throughout the race is a huge advancement for my program. At least I don't know if I can speak for anybody else, but for me, it's a huge difference. So that's something I want to continue to work with Fox and push, continue to push that technology.
I'm with you on that. I'm a live valve Fox guy too. I agree that being able to change the dial in the car to set up is a huge advantage. I'll pose this to you, RJ, a guy that's been around the class for a long time and in the sport with UTVs. It sounds like it might be that time, people were ostracizing the unlimited class because it wasn't really the class, because they're trying to stay in pro turbo. But now the 2000s there, we're talking 35s, we're talking advancements in live valve. Is it time for the best guys in the class or the bigger companies to jump to unlimited, or is that a hard jump for the factory teams because they want to keep it just like it comes off the showroom floor? And where do you draw the line? Sorry, that's a hard question to pose to you, but you're one of the leaders of our sport.
It is a tough question, because you know how it goes when it comes to racing. Everybody wants a trophy, right? So it is tough now that with the Pro R being forced to run in the unlimited class. It'll be interesting to see how it kind of splits up, between the turbo class, the unlimited class. There's the stock class, the NA class. Really, I think that there is room for those four classes. Like Austin was saying, I think that 35s are that next step into a UTV catching or closing that gap between a 10 car. The UTVs are progressing so fast that I like that class as an opportunity for that. I think that the promoters probably are trying to keep a cap on things, and that's why they limit stuff such as tire size and things like that. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Obviously the NA class, like what Caden runs, is tried and true there. Stock class getting people entered entry level into off-road racing, which is awesome. So I think those kind of four classes will stay, and I like how they have it tiered right now. Like you said, you can have the option of 35s in the open class, then there's the turbo class, stock, and NA. So I think there's probably even more classes than that. I'm not even familiar, but there's like 7 classes, I think, or something. I'm still new to this Baja stuff. If I had to change anything, I'd make the race 200 miles. I think that'd be the way. That's my 2 cents. But no, I a lot of respect for all these guys. This was my first year. A lot of times I do the 1,000 as just a driver for other teams. So the amount of work and planning and everything that goes into this is something that's never really talked about. And I think that's where the amount of time in the race is honestly won and lost for a lot of guys, including myself. So I had a lot to learn. These guys are obviously really good at knowing their equipment. I think that's where you see a lot of drivers, like you said, Cameron, such as yourself and myself included, that push them past what they are capable of still. So knowing your equipment is huge in the UTV class, and pushing it 100% when you can, and pushing it 60% when the terrain provides you that. So I think that's why you see a lot of those other guys on the screen being successful time and time again, is just knowing what their car is capable of.
Copy that. And I hate to say it, but we're timing out. Caden, final thought from you as we get ready to shift to the spec class. I want to thank everybody for participating here, but Caden, you'll get the last word.
My class and a class, I think it would probably more compare to like a spec truck class where these guys are driving cars that are twice the horsepower of mine. And I did pre-run on 35s with the new Pro R and think possibly it might be a little too much tire, but that's just me.
Right on. Well, I'm stoked to have you guys. A huge class of hitters here again. Brandon Sims, your first overall and UTV Open. Austin Weiland, first UTV Turbo. Caden Wells, first UTV NA. And then, of course, the legend RJ Anderson landing on the podium. I want to thank you guys very much for joining this episode of Fishgistics. And thank you to all the UTV racers for being a part of what we do here in off-road racing.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks guys for coming on.
Right on, Fish. I know I'm running over a little bit here and there, but we're staying pretty close. We're only 7 minutes over my allotted time right now. So
we're close. So we're bringing in the spec guys. Here we go.
Okay, here comes the spec guys. Remember, everybody that's watching, a little bit later in the fourth segment at about 1 o'clock or just 1:05, Luke McMillan, Rob Mack, Dan McMillan, and Josh Daniel will join us. But right now we have the spec TT class. First of all, Justin Davis. I know Justin. I can say his name clearly. Riley Herbst is here. Hey, Riley, how are you, buddy?
How's it going?
Eli, is it Krieger?
Kiger.
Kiger. Okay, Eli Kiger is here on the show. And Oliver Flamete, is that how I say that, Oliver? Oh,
Yes.
Yes. Okay, gotcha. Welcome, Spec Truckers. First place Spec Truck Eli, second place Spec Truck Justin Davis, third place Riley Herbst. First and only Class 11 finisher that also raced Spec Truck is Oliver. So that's a pretty amazing stat. Justin, I'm going to start with you. I know you've raced a number of classes. You've had some success in the Spec Truck class. This time around, second in the Baja 1000. It seems like the racing is pretty amazing in the Spec. I now have a Spec Truck. I raced only one race so far, but it's crazy the tight group of racers running up front.
Oh yeah, I mean that's why we joined the class, just because the competition was so great. We class one forever, and we love buggies, but we're just like the competition's in spec, and we could afford it and run at a high level. And this year we struggled. We just had part failure after part failure after part failure, and finally we had a clean run at the 1000. And my brother raced with me, he drove the truck once before, so he was still green, but you know what? He did a great job, and we ended up second to a great team. That's 2 years in a row now they've got us, but it's just a great class, and we'll love the competition and looking forward to next year.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's shift over to Riley right now. I know that it's your cousin Pierce is also driving with you, and I believe this time around was James Dean, maybe part of the crew. And originally, your Herb Smith Fab truck was declared the winner of the race, but then a VCP violation caught you. It sounds like you guys had a great race, other than missing one, or I'm not sure if it was one VCP.
Yeah, it was 2 VCPs, but like you said, my little cousin Pierce started the race with Jeremy, and James and Kyle did the middle section, and myself and Trevor finished up the race. So I only ran this truck when I hopped in the truck at 12:30 in the morning. So no testing, no nothing like that. So kind of coming in a little cold.
You've been busy.
I've been a little busy. Yeah, I race. I'm fortunate enough to get to race all throughout the year, but not too much in off-road racing. But it was a lot of fun. I just like to come back and do the 1000 with my family because, my family's been in it for a long time, so it means a lot to our family that all us kids get to do it. Obviously, we'd like to win, but we win and lose as a family. So I think the 3 years that we've done it, we came really close in 20. Last year we had an issue, and we were close this year as well. So we'll see how next year shakes out.
Well, your family lineage speaks for itself. Your dad and uncles, great part of our community, leaders for sure. Your grandpa, a legend at the very least. Is it how fun is it to be out there? And I've seen you out there with the family. How fun is it to be able to share that with cousins, uncles, dad, just being around that camaraderie of the family, but not only the family, but one of the first families of off-road, and a family that's so capable of being in front of the pack, no matter what class you guys are racing.
Yeah, it's crazy. I remember being 7, 8 years old, running down there with my dad pre-running, and just wishing I could have the opportunity to race the Baja 1000. And fortunate enough that I've got to do it 3 times now. So it's really, really cool. And to share a truck with my cousin and to basically lead the whole thing, and is pretty special for sure.
Right on. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about your other racing activities here in a moment. Let's get to Eli now. Eli, we talked before on the show. You impressed me with your pre-running, impressed me with the team that you put together. And again, correct back-to-back wins at the Baja 1000. That's not something that's easy to do.
Yes, we've been very fortunate the last couple of years at the 1000 to have a great program and be there at the end to go back-to-back this year.
Yeah. So when I watch you guys out there, all the Spec trucks, you guys look so quick. Eli, what's the program for you guys? Are you guys going to stick with racing score? Are you going to do best in the desert? You're going to do a hybrid? What's next? What's happening in the Spec truck community?
The Spec truck class as a whole, I mean, there's a lot of great drivers. I mean, anyone can win on any given day. I mean, I don't think it'd be that unlikely to see a Spec truck. Anyone in this conversation or in the class could compete for an overall, I believe. We like to stick and score. Pre-run is kind of where we make our bread and butter. Live in Pennsylvania, so the only practice we get is when we go pre-run. So we make a pretty big emphasis on having our notes down to where we have the best lines and just have the best notes we can to be competitive.
And Jason Coleman teamed up with you guys this year, correct?
Yes, we had Jason Coleman last year, and then we also had Jason McNeil this year. So we had both Jasons this year, and I started. Jason Coleman went second, did a great job, and then we had McNeil at the end, and we knew we were down on some time. So we all know the way he can wheel a truck, so we let him do his thing, and he got us close there at the end.
That's awesome. Well,
Well, real quick, I do have to give a shout out to Jason McNeil, because doing the tracking, I have never seen somebody make up so much time on in a Spec truck. Jason must have just been going crazy there that last section. That was crazy just to see the tracker, just watching him closing in.
Yeah, Jason's definitely a great driver. Someone's been around the sport, racing the trophy truck class. Friend of ours, friend of Pete Soren. I'm sure he was channeling some Pete, yelling at him in his ear, telling him to go, go, go. I want to shift gears down to Oliver. So class 11 finishing the Baja 1000 is pretty incredible with the time constraints and how rough this course was. I know you started in the Spec truck, moved to the 11 car. Talk about your day racing and the vast differences of racing on a 40-inch tire and then jumping into a car with 31-inch tires.
Yeah, it's a real different the classes. That was my first race ever in the Spec truck. I always raced my class 10 aluminum craft that I had before and my class 12, and that was my first race in my brand new Tisco truck. And but we always want to keep racing the Baja, and I finished the Spec truck. And I moved to the class 11. It's a real tough course, and it's a real hard, difficult. The 11 class, they have more technical. You don't have to hit rocks, nothing like that. You have to have a real clean race to keep going.
For sure. I mean, we all know the limitations. Well, those of us that have grown up racing the limited cars know what it's like to try to get that swing axle across the finish line and keep it all together. It's a heck of a battle for sure. I'm stoked to see it. Where was the closest class 11 car at the finish?
No, the closest, he did not finish
on
time. Yeah, we have a real clean race. Antonio Espinosa here from Ensenada, he started the class 11. And after I finished in race mile like 470, he put in my TT Spec, and after that we moved both to the class 11, and we drove all to the finish line.
Awesome, that's crazy. Riley, let's talk a little bit about what you've been doing, the success you've been having, and how does that translate into the truck racing in Baja? Is there different engineering or setup stuff that you think you can bring I know you said you didn't get a chance to drive the truck and set it up, but I'm sure when you're driving it, you're thinking about things that you can change. And how much does your other driving play into how you handle the truck in the desert?
Yeah, I've been very fortunate enough to race recently in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Obviously, the last couple of years with Stewart Haas Racing, so been really fun. I don't really know if too much correlates between the NASCAR side of things and spec truck racing out here in the Baja Desert, but at the end of the day, it's just a race car, and you got gas pedal, brake pedal, and a steering wheel. So I don't know if too much I can take back and forth, but it's a lot of fun just to come out there and race with my friends and family.
Very cool. Hey, speaking of friends and family, so Justin, you and your family do it all together. It's got to be pretty cool to do it with your brother.
Oh yeah, it was a real cool experience. You know, we raced in 2020 and 10, and we won. So we're like, heck, you know, no, we were trying to find some drivers, but nothing really aligned. So we're like, I just told my brother, you're driving, because he was kind of nervous, you know, racing spec and hasn't, you know, had a lot of opportunity to race a lot in that class. And I'm like, you know what, we're just going to go out there, have some fun. And, you know, it's at that, you know, 800-900 miles, anything can happen. So, you know, he just ran a clean section. I mean, he was going against McNeil, you know, and McNeil's fast. I mean, no matter who's driving, you're racing against McNeil, he's going to go for it. So, you know, he did the best he could and ran a clean run, and we just came up a little bit short, but you know, again, it's just awesome to be over there with my mom, dad, wife, my kids, my sister, everybody's there. My dad's running around chasing us like a maniac, and it's just a good time, family experience, and to race with my brother and split it and have a good time.
Yeah, it's still having seen you race since you were a little kid, I would like to say it's kind of alarming to hear you talk about your kids. It's making me feel a little bit more seasoned, as they might say. Eli, coming from Pennsylvania, that's got to be a tough road to hoe. I know we talked about it when you were on the show before. Do you get much racing or driving back east, or is everything done when you're pre-running, like you said, or is there other wheel time for you?
Not much wheel time back here. Most of the UTV series kind of closed up a few years ago when the speeds got too great. So we started coming west, and so pre-running, whether it's in the Talon or in our pre-runner, one of our Tiscos, I mean, that's the only practice we get. And then we test usually once or twice a year. But other than that.
Right on. What's next for the class? We're going to start wrapping it up a little bit. One real quick, one thing you would change on the Baja 1000, and what are you doing next year? Go ahead, Riley.
The biggest thing I would change, I thought about this for a little bit. I would say, I love this sport so much. I've been with it forever, but what I do every week, get fortunate enough to do it when I race, when you cross the finish line, you know who the winner is. Whether you win, you get thrown out in 20 minutes. I feel like we should be able to get our results faster, not only just for the people in the industry, but for the fans who do want to watch. They don't have to wait till Monday morning or Sunday afternoon to get the results. And obviously there's a lot to go into it. But if you have a close class battle, the trailer can do the math and see how much time truck A needs to be truck B by. And I feel like we should have our ability to get the VCPs and the penalties out a lot quicker, so the industry can move along faster.
Copy. I don't think a bad plan at all to try to do that. I'm a big believer in knowing right when you get to the finish line how it works out. I'd love to see the transponders be able to instantly download and have that come right up. I know I did that with Rally Comp when I was racing Baja Rally in the past. You'd come into the finish line and they would scan your Rally Comp and it would tell them all your speed penalties and if you miss any VCPs. I'm sure there's a need to review certain things. But I feel you 100%. The results quick would be huge for all of us. Justin, what would you do different? What are you doing next year?
Next year, we're going to run the score series again, maybe pick and choose a couple little races here and there, but majority of score. And then I think, you know, I'm a buggy guy at heart, but I think it's time for us to start in front of the class ones. They're not, I mean, we beat them by hours now. And they don't have a clean race. We still run them down. So, and now they're just kind of, a lot of them are just in the way, and, you know, you try not to smash them because remember we're big trucks, so we can do a lot of damage to a lot of them. So I think it's kind of sad to see the class, but it's time for us to start in front of them.
Can't say that I disagree with you, Justin. Eli, what would you do different? What are you doing next year?
To Riley and Justin's point, I agree with both those statements. Knowing the results the day of the race would be great. We've been in Riley's shoes before, where we've woke up that we, went to bed thinking we won the world and woke up the next day, and it's not the case. And then this, as Justin said, starting in front of class ones would be great. And optimistically, I'd like to start. I think we start in front of legends. To be honest with you, I think the class as a whole has that speed. Next year, we plan on racing the whole score series again. I don't think we quite got the championship this year, but that's the goal for next year, and we'll be back for it.
Copy that. Who won the championship this year?
Was it Jorge, I believe?
Gotcha. Good to know. Oliver, what is your plan for next year? What would you do different?
Different. I want to put some miles in the track, more testing, because I my first race, and we're gonna in the Baja in the score series, but we're gonna race both classes all the season. And for the 500, I want to race my 3 cars. I want to race the Spec truck, the class 12, and the class 11. But we're gonna keep focus in the Kitty Spec class and the class 11 for all the score season. Yeah, definitely.
Right on. Sounds fun. I can tell you all about racing multiple classes. I did it for a lot of years, and I love getting the opportunity to race. Thank you, everybody from the Spec Truck class. Oliver, the only finisher in class 11. Riley Herbst, 3rd place in Trophy Truck Spec with his cousin Pierce and James Dean. Justin Davis and his brother, 2nd place, TT Spec, and Eli, Jason Coleman, and Jason, what's his name? McNeil. Congratulations on the win at the Baja 1000, you guys. Stoked to share some time with you, share some stories, and we're going to move on to the Trophy Truck Turkeys. Feel free to hang around and listen in. We're going to be coming right up with Luke, Rob, Dan, and Josh in just a moment.
Yep, we're going to add it in. Thanks for coming, guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's add them in.
Cool to have so many different classes represented today with the bikes, the Ironman. Of course, the UTV is a big part of our community. Now having the Spec Truck guys. And now we're going to bring in the big dogs of desert racing. Josh Daniel, you got yourself turned sideways there, buddy. You're going to have to turn that for us. Luke is here. It looks like Rob is here. And maybe, are you not letting Dan in, or is he purposely?
Well, Dan will be the 4th one to join, but he hasn't joined yet. So
I might be sitting next to, I think he's sitting next to his brother, actually.
There he is.
Oh, hey. I think the fourth place thing is going to have to get dropped, man, because he's showing the world. Can you guys hear us? All right. Everybody hear us?
Yeah, we're going to unmute him.
Oh, you got to unmute him. I like it better. Can you keep Josh muted for me? All right, you guys, welcome to the Trophy Truck segment of Fishgistics today. Represented, we have your winner, Luke McMillan, and the number 83 team with the legend, Rob McCachran. Representing the number 23, 2nd place, Dan McMillan, and his teammate, Josh Daniel, with no S on the end, even though I like to call him Daniels. And of course, the number 16 is represented. Here I am, the Monster Energy BFG number 16, DNF. But anyway, it was a heck of a fun race. We want to talk story with you guys, talk about the pace, which seemed to be quite furious. I know you guys are going to say that we're only going 60%. I'm just a natural beast of the racers. I can tell you from my perspective, I wanted to make sure I got it to the desert floor before I broke it. Then we hauled ass. But super excited for all your guys' great finishes. Luke, congratulations on backing it up again and bringing home the win in the trophy trucks.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. It was a different day for sure at the Baja 1000. I mean, the Baja 1000, it's always an attrition race. It's always, I think last year we won it by 45 minutes. And then this year, being a loop race, if you go back to 2020 and 2019, I was racing in Pudia into the finish, less than 5 minutes between us. And so it was kind of crazy and wasn't sure what to expect this year. But by mile 160, I was watching the tractor and it was already so spread out, and so many people already had downtime and all kinds of things. And, even Rob and I had our fair share of downtime. And when we had our first issue pop up, which was a drive shaft letting go, I made sure I hopped on the MSAT and let Duncan and Rob know, hey, we're not out of this. We're not out of this. In fact, I just got word that the number 7's having issues, and I knew we could get back in it. And, that's the Baja 1000. The key really is just keep moving. And even if you have downtime, don't give up.
Never surrender. Yeah, I like that. Dan, second place. Congratulations. I know it must have been pretty fun while you're down there leading the race. Josh was in the truck part of that. I'm not sure if you were, but first on the road and first on time for a while there must have been pretty shiny for you.
Yeah, it was fun. So I started the race, went to 155, and Josh got in and had a couple of his share of issues. He had two flat tires. Takes about 100 miles to figure out those trucks. I think Rob and Josh kind of know now. I know Rob raced it last year at the 1,000, but now that Josh has raced the all-wheel drive, he kind of understands it. So it takes about 100 miles of race conditions to get used to it. So he did a great job, and it got to me in first on the road. And then going up Mike's, Luke was a minute and a half behind me. Like he said, he made up a lot of time from the downtime that Rob had with the drive shaft. And then you had your issue, Cameron, or Ryan did, and then and then then Luke was a minute and a half behind me, and then we got word on the MSAT that the next truck was 55 minutes behind us. It was LR, and it was like, I mean, that kind of ridiculous. Like, it just seemed like the race was over at half, not even halfway. So a really weird Baja 1000, I would say, but being first on the road was awesome. Obviously, the excitement of being the first truck on the road from a spectator's point of view is always cool, but being in the truck first on the road is really, really special. And Josh gave me that opportunity to be first on the road. He was first on the road, so we both had our fair share of being first on the road. It was really fun.
Josh, I know you don't mind the pressure, but there's got to be a fair bit of pressure jumping into a new truck and wheeling it to the front of the pack and making sure you get it back around to Dan.
Oh, that goes, there's always that pressure of wanting to perform, right? So these guys' equipment and the amount of time and effort and money they spend to come down and do these races, you don't want to be the guy to come in and ruin it for them, right? So that's really my big thing as far as pressure goes. But as soon as the helmet, as soon as I get in, I hit the gas, the pressure kind of leaves for me. Like, and I just kind of I don't know. You guys can attest to this. It's. I'm not gonna say these driving these things are easy by any stretch, but after you've driven them for so long, they start to become a second part of you, kind of like driving your car down the freeway. A lot of the things become non-eventful. You see things that you just manage without even thinking about that might spook a lot of people. But like that truck, I hadn't driven in a year. The last trophy truck race I drove was last year's Baja 1000. So, getting used to the truck took a little bit of time, like they were saying. And for me, it was. It's a different truck, the shifting and stuff. I had to get used to it. But one thing I noticed, the first flat I got was kind of a mysterious flat. It was going down the after you cross over the Zoo Road, piece of pavement there. And it was just flat. I was about halfway down that just freeway of Zoo Road. Used to be whoops, and now it's not right there. And it just let loose and wrapped around the axle, and I kept getting time splits to who was next, and it happened to be you, but it was 5 minutes, no one had come through, and then still sitting there. So we had about 5 minutes of downtime, and then just with that one flat, and then when we got going again, I heard him, "Okay, Cameron just came across the road," and I'm like, "Oh man, he's gonna be up my ass right now." So, and I knew going into you hit that one VCP right there at the end of that road, and you got to go through all those trees and stuff. I go, okay, well, if I peg the lines right, it's going to be hard to try to follow me through there. And the one thing I noticed about this truck that was different is my pre-runner, and it's about 3 or 4 inches narrower per side. And so right away, I got another flat on a little root sticking out in the track, and you had to and there's another one right past it. So you had to go right up the middle of them. And I think just the inexperience with the truck being a little bit more wide than I was expecting, I got that flat again. And then that one, the wheel stuck to the hub. And unfortunately, it's bittersweet. You try to pull over next to spectators. So you're like, is it, what's my risk? Are these guys going to help me or make it worse? Fortunately, they had a hammer out, and Billy was able to beat the wheel off and stuff. And I thought for sure you'd have come by, and I'm like, man, he's got to come by any second. But supposedly, I heard that you smacked the tree right there where I was talking about or something and got a flat. And so, and then I had to get a double re-rack. I didn't know where the guys were. They're like, we're at mile 242, and I'm going, no, you're not, because I'm sitting right here at 242 with no tires on it. And then they were just, I mean, less than a quarter mile away. All I had to do was drive up another quarter mile. But anyway, but yeah, then once I got the information about you guys or being on the lead truck, Bryce had gotten a tranny. I didn't see where he was pulled around at, but I saw later in a video. And then I just tried to control the pace from there. You know, the truck seemed a little flat to me. Seemed like, from what I hear at the end of the race, I haven't got the full debrief on it yet, but that it was on down a cylinder. So I don't know if that's a plug wire or what happened, but just seemed a little flat. It wouldn't make mile an hour. And, you know, like Dan said, you know, being first on the road, you have the luxury then of kind of controlling the pace. And I felt that, you know, I didn't feel like I was beating the truck at all. I felt like we're hitting the marks and everything well, didn't smash into anything, you know, besides the one flat that I earned. And, you know, so allowing guys to either, you know, push a little harder thinking they're going to get on you or not, or, you know, like, hey, am I going to break this truck in half? I don't know. That was the inexperience with the truck that I felt was I didn't know how hard I could go through some of the bumps and stuff. And talking with Luke and talking with Neil Mason and stuff, they're like, you just pin this thing through here, man. And so I'm like, you know, so that makes me excited because I'm like, man, if I get the chance, which I think I'm gonna, next time I'm gonna send it through there, man. And just, you know, because
you covered.
I'm that guy. I'm that guy. I like, you know, the faster, the rough. I like all the high speed shit. That's my favorite stuff. I could do all of it pretty well. I mean, the technical stuff and all that thing that, you know, behind mics, I could do all that, but you know, shipping a trophy truck through some big bumps or down a, you know, high speed road, I like that stuff. So anyway, you know, I really wanted to thank the McMillans for, you know, allowing me that opportunity and just, you know, seeing what they do as a team and how amazing it is really something, you know, as a student and as, you know, I think I'm allowed to say, you know, as professional trophy truck racers and being on professional teams, it's really exciting to see how other teams work and the amount of effort that Mark and Luke and Dan and all their whole team puts into it, you know.
For sure. Well, you covered a lot of ground there. I want to react to a couple things. I don't want to forget that the greatest of all time in our sport, Rob McCachran, sitting there in the wings waiting to talk. But back to your comment about us getting a flat. Yes, I heard that you were stopped on the tracker and I came into, there's a left and you go for about a mile and then there's a right and there were some fans standing on the side of the race course. I shifted to the right and caught the edge of a tree and speared a tire. I too pulled over at some fans for some help and they were helpful as well. But later on, we're running hot. We're going into Potomac Wash. We're not far behind you, Josh. I don't know the exact time split there, but I did get the time split from my crew there that Luke was, I think, 3:55 on our back door or something like that. And I was like, damn, I talked crap at the press conference to Rob about lines. And now here he comes. He's going to try to get me. So we had a furious pace going up through Potomac. We had a lot of good lines. It was interesting to watch Josh's lines and Bryce's lines, and a lot of them very similar to what we were doing. But it's interesting to see sometimes when there's a 3 split that all 3 sets of tires went different ways. I pay attention when I'm driving the race car because I'm thinking about next year's race, of course. We had a great race. We gave her hell. And I know, Rob, you're ready to give us a little nerf after that press conference comment, huh?
Yeah, you know, exactly, Cameron. You know, it was, you know, as Josh alluded to, you know, racing with McMillan family is definitely an honor. And, you know, they're definitely putting, you know, all their work together, dotting I's, crossing T's. So it was definitely an honor to race with them. I want to thank, you know, Luke and Dan and Mark and the whole family, the whole team to be able to race with them. And it's a lot of pressure for me, as Josh said, because it's not our trucks and, you know, we want to do them well. And Luke, you know, he was on a 2 in a row and wanted to get 3. So, again, you know, in 2021, I'm starting to have, I was being nervous before the race and everything. I said, Rob, what are you doing? You know how to win these races. You know how to do it. So, I just told myself, do what you do, Rob, and it'll all work out. And again, same thing. And we started the race off in Sonata, and right away Dan closed up on me, and I was about 30 seconds back all the way, you know, until we ended up getting a flat tire going down Corridor Molina, and Dan got by. Well, Bryce got by, Dan got by, and then Dan, as he was talking about his little bit of issue, because something weird with the motor, we got back by him, and then we started closing in on Bryce. through, race mile 200 and started really being his dust there at the speed zone at the K149, 159 area. And then we ended up, like you said, I can't follow him anymore. I was telling Duncan, the co-rider, I can't follow him because we're in his dust. It's holding us up. So we need to take a different line and ended up getting by him. And then, again, that first truck on the road feeling was pretty incredible. And I thought, timing's perfect because it's getting later in the day and the sun's going to go down and usually the dust hangs. And then, about mile 265 or so, ended up a drive shaft spit out of the truck. I don't really know why. And that's that thing too, as we all know, you push your truck, but in the back of your mind, this is, the Baja 1000, you need to take care of it and you need to have a good truck at the end. So I thought we were doing that all day. And then the drive shaft came out and, I wasn't too worried. I knew, that we could still push hard. And, I knew Luke has been very strong, when he gets in the truck at the 21,000, he just hauled butt and put a lot of time on people. So I knew once we got the drive shaft in and going again that we'd be okay. And it's funny, you talk about the lines and I do the same thing. I watch the trail in front of me and, a couple times it was probably you went off the corner and missed it. And I did the same thing. And I blame you because you blew the berm out. So I just followed you in the same place. So, but it was really good and ended up, again, I'm pushing after we had downtime trying to catch up, but I'm also going, hey, we're only at mile, 300, 325, and there's still a lot to go. So I'm wrestling with myself, how hard do I push and, back it down, take care of the thing. There's still a lot of miles left.
I wanted to comment on that. So we go into Matomi Wash and I know you're 350 on my back door and I'm like, okay, he's got a big block. He's got 5-speed. He's got all-wheel drive. And he's got the best tires like I do. So I got to go. I got to giddy up because I don't want this guy coming up on me when I'm giving the truck to Arciero. I want to, make sure I'm good. So we did carry quite a bit of speed on Old Portecitas Road before that, trying to make time on you guys, thinking that our geyser could smash the whoops in a superior style. But in Matomi Wash, I did blow a couple corners. And the bottom line is I'm trying to carry momentum. I only have the 3-speed, right? So in that particular situation, uphill sand wash, it's one of the few places I really feel like I'm at a huge disadvantage. So yes, I did try to carry second gear into a couple corners that I really couldn't do it and blew through the turns. And I actually had a moment. There was one time in there where I ended up in a bush or like a small tree. I'm like, damn, Rob's going to fall that track right in there and he's going to be pissed at me that just happened. But truth be told, the berm was already kind of blown up a little bit, but I don't know if it was bikes or what, but it's fun. It's crazy what we think about when we're out there. Kyle Jurgensen, we caught Walzer coming down the pass and I could see Jurgensen coming, he was on a good one. And I'm like, I told Cody, I'm like, let's just let him get closer and we'll just pull over and let him go by. And I don't know if that was in his head or what, but we let Kyle go by and then we chased him down the hill in the rocks and he had a failure. But, once we got to the bottom, we had made the decision ahead of time that we were going to go. If there was a breakaway group, we were going with it. And to be really honest, usually I see everything around me. I never saw Tavo parked. I never saw you pulled over. I never saw Bryce. And I was like, holy crap. My guys are like, I got out of the car. I'm like, what's the situation? They're all, you're leading on time and you're second on the road. I'm like, holy crap, what just happened? And so, it's pretty cool. And Josh, I wanted to mention that you have teamed up with everybody in this video, this chat, other than Fish and Luke. So you've been partners with Dan, Rob, and myself. So I see you moving around out there. I want to keep an eye on you. Luke, how cool is it for you to be able to go wage war with your brother? It's something I kind of got to do in 5/16s a little bit with my brother, but never at this level and never at the very front of the pack. And to do that with the McMillan family name, I think is pretty amazing. Your grandpa Corky, your dad and uncle all laid a hell of a path for you guys. And here you are showing that the McMillan family is the best of the best.
Yeah, no, it was super cool. I mean, right when I got in the truck, like Rob said, we still had a long race to go, and you were in between us still. And I knew I wanted to get you, and then I knew my brother was doing a driver change up top, so
We were trying not to let you by before the Mike's Road. We wanted you to be in our dust at the Mike's Road.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I didn't want to be in Dan's dust at Mike's Road. So I was getting ready to get in, and, you know, I was listening to the times, and I knew Rob lost, I think it was 18 minutes is what I heard. And I closed it. He closed in. I heard, I think 10, 11 minutes, and Amber and Jen were right there. I said, Rob, I just need a little more. I need a little more, you know, and he pushed and pushed and pushed. And right before I got in, my wife had the stopwatch sitting right there. So, you know, as soon as I jumped in the truck, she could show me. And it was 9 minutes. And I said, okay, let's do this. And we charged hard. I never saw Ryan. But, you know, Jen, you know, knowing me, she knew I wanted to come back for a win. You know, she kind of thought it was gone, but I was also super stoked to see my brother out front. And she said, you know, she goes, well, I know you really want to win this, but promise me you'll be safe. And I said, I'll promise you both. And we got in and we started moving, and we closed in, and I knew Dan was doing the driver change. So I pushed down through the desert, and that was part of our strategy. You know, I like the sand washes. I like San Felipe, all that stuff. I've always put up good times down there. So I tried to get them, and Josh ended up getting me by a minute 20 when we headed into Mike's. Like Dan said, when we got the call that the next car was 45, 50 minutes down, it was kind of bizarre. Like I told Duncan, I said, I'm chasing Dan, and, you know, we both want to win, but I'm super happy we're running 1 and 2. And I told Duncan, I said, I don't know what to do. I guess I'll just follow Dan around. And Dan was on the radio having a great time. He's passing motorcycles and calling it out, and, you know, telling me, watch out for the ditch over here and ditch over, you know, just messing with us and cracking jokes to Duncan. And Duncan's laughing. I'm on driver isolate. I'm going, what's going on? He goes, your brother's having a great time. And I was not. I had my dust light on and just trying to stay right there, you know, 45 seconds to a minute 20. Duncan was timing every time we could see Dan. And but it just felt like a pre-run, really. So it was super special. I mean, you got your team running 1 and 2. You're going after a three-peat, whether it was Dan or I that won. You know, to me, it was the team going for a three-peat, and no other team has done that either. So excluding Rob and Ragland. But so, you know, I was super excited, but also very nervous, just, you know, with everything that was going on. And then Dan actually, you know, when he got his flat tire, he got on the radio and talked to me a little bit about brakes and stuff. And he laughed. He was laughing. I was not laughing. He started laughing. He goes, well, I'm trying to run, but I snagged a ditch and, you know, lost a brake line. And he was having some fuel issues with the engine. And when I went by him, I said, hey, what's going on with your fuel mileage? I got a hold of Max on the radio. I didn't. Duncan did. Make sure Dan was getting good enough fuel mileage to get to a splash pit, because I was fully ready to check up and tow him in, because I wanted to see the team go 1-2, you know, for everyone, for the team, my family, and all that. And then from there, Dan and I just drove in. It was super, super slow, cruised. We ended up having 10 more minutes of downtime, just kind of looking at some water pressure. I don't want to say issues. We don't know if it was an issue or not, but it was a bit lower than it should have been, but it was also really, really cold outside.
Max knows a lot about that water pressure issue too, huh?
Yeah, Max knows all about it. And Duncan's water pressure. So, so we pulled over for 10 minutes checking for water pressure issues. And Duncan had forgot to mention to everyone that his catheter fell off. So when we're in the speed zone in Valley T, he says, hey, don't look over here, and whips it out and just starts peeing. So he peed all over the floor of the truck, and which would have happened with the catheter either way. And Max pulled the skid down, and, you know, there's Duncan's piss, you know, at the heat exchanger.
They were looking for a water problem. So they saw water leaking out the bottom, and he's just under there getting it, man.
Yeah. Finally, Rob jumps up and goes, hey, did you go pee? I said, Duncan goes, yeah. And, you know, that was that. But it was super lighthearted. You know, I was sitting in the pits. I'm just trying to get to the finish line. I'm not having any fun until, you know, I win. But Rob's laughing and smiling. You know, Dan's still moving behind us. The team, it was just sitting there in the eye of the storm, super calm, because we had a 45-minute lead. And, you know, I'm just, you know, pulling my hair out thinking this water pressure is gonna bite me with 100 miles to go. As you know, going through European and all that stuff, it's just a long ways to go. And the team just seemed super relaxed about it. I was not, but then we get to the finish line. It's 1 and 2. We had our celebration. We didn't realize it until the finish line, but we went 1 and 2 in the points series this year. So it's just a testament to the team and our family and all the hard work, because, you know, we worked super hard at it. And to go 1 and 2, that was the cherry on top. That with the points and my brother and I sharing the podium, you know, we were spraying champagne, and Dan was on the podium cracking jokes about, you know, save some champagne for me. And it just, you know, like I couldn't have written a better Baja 1000. It was just absolutely amazing. And my dad's super stoked. My mom, my dad, everyone's real happy. My sister tracked the whole thing. So just great day for the family and the legacy of the sport. And, I'm ready to do it again.
I got a question because a few people asked me this. It's for Dan and Luke. Now, Dan, were you going to let Luke go by you, or how hard were you going to drive and hold him off?
I wasn't going to let him, I wasn't going to I wasn't going to hold him up. So if he was a minute behind me, right? A minute's a long time. If I saw his headlights, like if he was like around, like on the same corner, I was going to, okay, I'll pull over for you. Like, don't have to bump me. But no, I wasn't going to like pull over. I wasn't going to wait 45 seconds to a minute and a half and let him go by. Like I was just, we were in cruise control, honestly. And like Luke said, when I got in at Mike's Road, I was like getting like 1.4 miles of the gallon or something shitty. And then, so I had to like cruise up through Mike's, and I got up to like 1.6 because I was just really just cruising. And we got to our pit 5 on San Telmo Road, and Luke was a minute and a half behind me. We did my pit, and then he pulled in right behind me. And then so going up mailings and stuff, he was right in my dust. And I knew I didn't want to be in dust, but I didn't want to hold him up. But Luke was a minute and a half behind me. He wasn't like right behind me that it was going to be a dangerous situation. In fact, going up mailing, Rob, you know this, going up mailings, or yeah, Rob, you know this. Mm-hmm. Actually, y'all know this. Going up mailings, that nasty silt hill was getting really, really bad. And so I went up it, and obviously I got all-wheel drive, and I'm going up, and it kind of started to shoot me off to the cliff. So I got on the radio. I go, "Hey, Duncan, this cliff's getting gnarly. Hang out of the dust. Don't go off a cliff in my dust." And said they almost went off of it. So I'm just being a good big brother. I'm calling out bikes like, "Hey, Duncan, there's a bike in between us. There's a quad in between us." Cause I don't know if those guys pull back out and stuff. So we were having fun. We were like pre-running. It was like, like Luke said, I was joking with Duncan. I was saying yeehaw and stuff on the radio, and like, this is fun. And just like, it wasn't a Baja 1000 for some reason. It felt different, but yeah, it was fun. I was going to race him, but I wasn't going to, let it through, let it take one of us out, within reason, I would say. And we got word from my dad going up to Mike's. He got on the radio, and what he typically says is, "Hey, both of you cool it, don't throw this away for the team." And like Dan said, that's the last thing we want to do. We got our team on first and second, and we got 45 minutes on everyone. Don't screw this up. And that was the last thing either of us wanted to do. Yeah, he got on the MSAT and was like, "There's 55 minutes to the third place truck. Just drive the trucks." Like that was been my plan. It's been my plan for as long as I've been racing, right? It's the Baja 1000, like Rob said. Like, mile 300, what do I do? Just drive. Just do what you do. Get in your groove and just drive. And that's what I did, and that's what Luke did. And right before San Telmo Road, right at the last crest before where everyone pits at the bottom of that big open field, the road splits. You want to get over to the left quick so it's a straight shot. Well, I came over that too hot, went in the middle section, hit a ditch. I'm like, oh, like kind of ow, but it wasn't that big of a deal. And then pushed my brake pedal and it went all the way to the bottom. Like, oh shit. So then I had to downshift to first to slow myself down. Luckily, I slowed down enough to make the turn on the speed zone, and then I felt my tire on the asphalt. I told Luke on the radio with Luke, I started laughing. I'm like, "I got a flat, dude. I broke my brakes. I'm gonna fix it. You go ahead." And then he passed me, and that was it.
Copy. Good storytelling. I love it. And of course, Mark with the cool heads on the radio. I like that. Rob, just the breakaway group goes, and you obviously got to calculate it. We decided to go. Any surprises? See the old geyser in there smashing, and what would you say the first change you would make to your truck would be after driving the big blocks, the all-wheel drive, the 5-speed? What would you do if you were me and you were going to go back out? If you believed in that 2-wheel drive like I do, I believe, and of course we broke it. We were pushing it. Danny might laugh at me a little bit, but I still think it's a great truck. What would you do if you were me?
Well, you definitely need a big block, or we do. Our little small block, they just don't have the power, and then obviously all-wheel drive, all the stop and goes. They just pull out of the corners, and you're just gaining that little bit here and there. And, just like San Felipe, the Baja 1000, once we got down in the desert and all that area, the 2-wheel drives do get after it, and when I first saw the map come out and I was like, wow, this is a really tough course. I thought to myself, I never mentioned to Luke, but I thought to myself, if Luke still had his 2-wheel drive, I bet he'd be thinking about running it. But, the all-wheel drives, the reliability is really coming along. Although at the Baja 1000, where'd everyone go? Same thing. But, the horsepower is a big one. I would, for me, in my geyser truck as well, I'd love to have a couple more 100 horsepower in it.
I think the one thing that would make a big difference, and I agree with you, Rob, on the big block, is the linear power delivery, where right now we're racing on that 8 stack and it's kind of got more of a burst in there. And I think if we had the ability to run that extra 15 miles an hour between each corner, would give us a little bit more. And we could also slow down a little bit more for the corners and not try to run through them, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But, I'm super stoked to race with you guys. I felt like we had a good plan, a good program going in. It's an honor to race with you guys, but also an honor to be beat by you guys, because I know you guys put it all on the line and put a massive effort in. Chains, congratulations on a great run, man. Did you you talked a lot about your race, but there's been a lot of history for you in the sport. You raced with Rob, and now you're racing with Dan, and raced with me. It's got to be pretty cool to be that hired gun to come around and join people going racing.
Well, it is. It's I was thinking about this the other day, and I almost made a post, and I really want to thank you, Cameron, for giving me one of the first the first opportunity to have a major sponsor, with Yokohama at the time, and also the opportunity to come drive with you and get that trophy truck experience. Because I was, nobody gives people those chances just randomly, right? And so I always really appreciated that, and I loved being a part of your team and our friendship and stuff. And then from there, like driving for Riot got me a lot of trophy truck experience, and then having my own program, realizing this costs a bunch of money and a lot of work. And maybe like my talent doesn't, I don't want that to sound arrogant or anything, because I don't mean it that way, but like, I felt that I could drive a lot better than I could prep. And then I got to drive, for RPM. And then, I always had really great success with other teams, driving with Rob, and when we got second, losing to Luke, and just driving for different teams, learning a lot of different stuff, and being able to go from one truck to another. I have my old Class 1 car, and I've really lost that sensation of when I took it out to try to race it. I was all off kilter. I couldn't, the Class 1 car stops way better, and I was all off on that. So I think I'm officially now a country clubber, but driving for all these different teams really gives you a different perspective on what people have done. I don't usually go team to team and share other people's, stuff that they do out of respect for them. I just kind of think about myself, when I say that, meaning like, okay, this team does this, or this team does that, or this truck does this, or this truck does that. And so I try to take that knowledge and apply it to what I think was better in certain situations and maybe not so good in others, But anyway, to make a long story short, I really love driving for these other teams, and teams that really can go out and win. I've gotten a lot of offers in the past that I haven't taken, but and I'm not trying to speak ill of anybody. It's just, doing this for this long, it's, this is, I want to win. And, a race like this, there's, let's face it, the teams there's a reason why the McMillans are winning and stuff. You look at the way, getting an inside view of what they're doing and how they're doing it, and the level of prep and attention to detail, is absolutely insane. I was talking to, Andy McMillan, their cousin, a little bit after the race about it. And he was like, man, Luke's got this team on point. And I just saw like in the chase meeting, the pit meeting and stuff before the race, just how attention to detail every single thing was, from where guys were going to be on the track with spare tires and just, to awareness in the chase trucks, to the lists of things that they have just in every truck and where it is in the peninsula. And it's insane. So, I look back at my program and go, oh man, I was like, there's a reason why these guys can win races, and it's because of their attention to detail and level of professionalism. That's just wild. And seeing that from team to team is just epic, and I really enjoyed that, with all the teams I raced for. I remember when I raced with Rob a couple years ago, just how much he was, like I was I geek out on a truck and I look at it and I was talking to Rob about setup and different things. And I really enjoy that stuff, like learning and talking with other guys, and being on their same team, to where it's not like, you still have your little bit of a secret that you keep, but also going, no, he does that and I do that and I like that. And, that gives you some confidence in when you're doing the things that you do and stuff. So, I won't keep running my mouth the whole time, but, it's really bitching driving for all these guys and stuff, and being part of their program and their families. Really, you get to know them on a personal level, which is huge too, because, I'm not getting paid for this. This is for me, just my friends and stuff. And so I want to go out and hang out with people I like and race with people I like, and also on teams that can win,
Yeah, I agree with you. I did want to say, while we're talking about teaming up and stuff, I'm super excited to have that partnership with Ryan Arciero. He's been doing a spectacular job for us, or with us, and we have a lot of like-minded thinking. So I'm excited about that. I'm going to pose something a little different here. I hit up Jose G, the director of SCORE, about qualifying. And of course, I told him, first of all, if you qualify in the sand pit at San Felipe, I'm not going back. It's already cost me 2 motors. But I proposed to Jose G, and I wonder where you guys are at on this. Rob, you might like it. I propose that we get a 200-yard run-in before timing starts at qualifying, because one of the biggest disadvantages for the two-wheel drive is the start motion. And so I proposed to Jose G, along with a couple others, that we get a run-in, everybody on equal footing, a 200-yard run-in before the timing starts. Granted, the all-wheel drive still may have an advantage in some of those tight, slippery sections, but I think it's going to definitely level the playing field, and I think it will take some of the all-wheel drive drivers' advantage out of it and level the playing field a little bit, which I already said. Rob, first, your thoughts.
Definitely, we cannot qualify in the sand anymore. It's caused too much damage. It's cost hundreds of thousands of dollars probably in the last 2 years, if not more. So I'm all with you. And I think, I'm going to be pretty bold here. I think we should boycott if they put us in the sand again. That's a really bad deal. And,
I'm out for sure.
I agree. I didn't think it would happen 2 years in a row. And I know Jose G tried to do a little bit different. He did take us off in some faster stuff to get us out of there, but still, it still caused damage. And as far as all-wheel drives go, and the head start, look, this is off-road
racing. Head start. Everybody getting 200 yards of running.
Yeah. No, I understand. And one of the greatest things about this sport is it doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. Ultimately, and the amount of money that we spend, the little guy can beat the big guy. And those examples have happened. I use many, many years ago where Doug Thornton and Charlie Townsley beat Ivan Stewart. That was a very small budget beating a multi-million-dollar budget, and that's pretty damn cool. So to each their own. The guys that went the all-wheel drive route and got on that early, it's their benefit. It's their advantage right now, and we haven't done it. We need to figure out how to make that happen. So it is. I mean, they have that advantage. I don't know. I know where you're coming from, and since I'm being a two-wheel drive, I guess I'd probably lobby that too. But I don't really know that they should do that. It's it's us that don't have the all-wheel drives, and we need to work harder and figure out how to get that to happen.
Copy. Josh, what are your thoughts on that? A little bit of run-in for the two-wheel drives to level the playing field in qualifying.
I think that there are 200 more yards of me gaining more speed in an all-wheel drive truck. And it's just going to hop out that much faster, unless you let them run for a mile and then hit the start. Then you might get an advantage. I don't know. I mean, where does it stop then? You got big engines, now we got bigger engines, we got all this stuff, and that's one thing I always bitch about. I want 10 piston brakes with 20-inch rotors and 2,000 horsepower, but until somebody can make those things as advantageous, I don't know that we should change the rules to accommodate the people that aren't advancing their equipment. I get the cost. I understand. I mean, I was a very budget minded team, and I still tried to advance my truck, when I had the twin turbos coming out, and then we moved it, then we put a big block in it. We started developing that at Danzio. And, and one of the things that I've always said is I'm always complaining about power or all wheel drive or whatever. I want more traction. I want more braking. I want more advancement. But to Rob's point, I think that really it's the duty of the teams and the drivers to make their equipment that much better, because that is part of it. That was one thing I always tried to work hard on, was making my truck faster, because where maybe I would lack in some skill somewhere, maybe I'd make it up in my equipment, So anyway, as far as a running start, I don't know that how much more of an advantage it'd be. For sure, if you're starting side by side, it's obviously, and getting off the holes. But also, why don't you just put in there then, hey, why don't you give us a 2-mile stretch of top speed? Because, a 2-wheel drive truck, every one that I've ever driven that has the big engines will wax a all-wheel drive truck on the top end, by a good 10, 12 mile an hour. So
if I was gonna make a suggestion on a section that I wanted, I would say let's put some giant whoops in it and have a go at it. But Luke, come on, you got it. I hear you. I see you over there smiling. You got something to say? Spit it out.
I mean, I love you, Cam, but I disagree. I disagree with the bumps. I think my all-wheel drive will take you down there too. Qualifying, you could give us a foot race. You could put us, at SEMA in the short course track. You can put us in the sand pit. You can put us in Ojos. The same names rise to the top every single time. In 2020 at 2021 San Felipe, I raced my 2-wheel drive small block, qualified third and lost the race by 12 seconds. I should have worked a little harder for those 12 seconds, but that was a 2-wheel drive small block. We worked really hard at it. And then as far as like the running start for an all-wheel drive, my all-wheel drive jumps out of the hole faster than any one of them, I would bet. And that's because I've worked at it, not just faster than the 2-wheel drives, but faster than the other all-wheel drives too. And that comes from converter setup and traction and a lot of other things. So again, I think it comes down to that's part of the race. And I love the 2-wheel drives, and we can add more power to them. But I think, as you do that, reliability is going to go down. You're going to go to a Mason gear, you're going to start breaking an underdrive. You put a bigger underdrive in there, you're going to start breaking your drive shaft. The sport we run in, the different terrains and all that kind of stuff, the amount of power you're putting to the ground and the shock loads, you can't put 1,000 horsepower to 2 tires and add more traction with the BFG 3.0s and expect them to last. But there's other things that you could do to a 2-wheel drive to make it faster. Maybe traction control, or maybe lightweight, or maybe shedding off 2,000 pounds. Maybe there is something else a 2-wheel drive can do, but maybe we just haven't found that avenue yet. So my opinion is, I don't want to go to the sand track. If they put it there, I'll go run it. I've put a plan in place with my team. If we go to that, what we're going to do to the truck afterwards. And I don't want to do that. I'd rather qualify somewhere else. But like I said, qualifying is qualifying. And whether we have a 200-yard start, whether we do it on asphalt, no matter what we do, the same result happens. So if we do it, then go for it. I'll go for it. And if we don't do it, we don't do it. I'll race either way.
Copy. Good conversation. Danny, I'm going to switch the gear for you. Let's talk about next year's Baja 1000 in reverse. This is going to be our closing topic. I'm sure
thank God.
Thinking about it.
Thank God I didn't get the 200-yard question.
Yeah, no, you're good. I thought we should shift gears because it's a good topic to cover. What's your thoughts on doing it in reverse, changing it up, something different? A lot of excitement around it.
Oh, I think excuse me. I think it's great. I think it's awesome. Definitely makes pre-running no, actually I take that back. It doesn't make pre-running different. You just gotta fly, you gotta take all your stuff down there to start. So hopefully you go down there with you got all your stuff, because you can't start in Ensenada and forget your helmet in San Diego and just buzz across the border, So I think it's awesome. I think it's really cool. It seems like that was more the talk about this year's 1,000 was people were kind of buzzing about next year's 1,000 was the pause to Ensenada. And I think that's awesome that Score and Jose G have decided to do. Never been done before. So I'm going to definitely start next year, probably hand the truck off to Josh around Constitution. No, I'm just kidding. Go
back to the weeds.
But yeah, I think it's really, really cool. I think Luke would agree that it's a special thing to do. And hopefully next year we start that race first and second. We have a good 400. We start that race first and second. I don't know much else to say, except if it's the same peninsula run going south to north as is north to south, I think it's going to be real challenging. I think we know the Constitution whoops and all the, where it's typically foggy is going to be in the daylight. So that's going to be different. The staircases leaving La Paz, what's that like going up it? But then, once you get, going through Loreto in the daytime, never been done before. So going to be really, really cool and going to completely change the race.
Note, never been done before by the leading trophy truck, probably, but there's lots of people racing through Loreto in the daylight, me included, over the years, I'm sure. Rob, what do you think about the reverse format?
I think it's cool. I've been doing this a really long time, and I love change and seeing stuff differently. And, I know, we're all speculating on, logistics, planning, things like that. So I'm excited about it. And, all the different things Mark McMillan brought up while we were down there while Luke and Dan were battling each other. He brought up the point that, now, normally when we're racing, north to south, it's not that cold in La Paz. It's kind of warm. So when you switch it up and you're coming through the mountains, up towards the north, how cold it could be. So it'll be interesting. A lot of different scenarios can happen. And, I'm excited about it.
For sure. I think Score's been doing a great job. Jose G is an amazing leader of the bunch. And I think that this is definitely a good one. Luke, you got a comment on it?
No, I think it's going to be exciting. It's something different. I don't mind the drive down to La Paz. If we want to call ourselves an international race series, then we can't be afraid to drive 12 hours, or 24 hours, whatever it is. But I'm excited for it. I'm glad they're changing it up. I hope they go around the Constitution whoops, and it has nothing to do with my 4-wheel drive. It has everything to do with it's not very fun. But no, it's exciting. I'm glad they're doing something different. I'm hoping to go for a 4-peat there, and hats off to Score for doing something different, really. So that's one positive coming in next year.
Back to your comment about it. I have ridden my dirt bike up the steps, but never driven a car up. And for some reason, after looking at it that way, I don't know that Score would try to go up the steps with the cars. I don't know that would be really a good way to start the chaos.
Right.
It would be interesting.
Yeah. Might be similar to this year by mile 160.
Yeah, no, unfortunate for people that got stuck in the roadblock. All right, you guys, I got the message. You like the Baja 1000 in reverse order. You think I'm a dumbass for pitching the run-in start, and you don't like my 2-wheel drive, but I'll be back to battle with you guys next year. I'm looking forward to a little bit of chaos. Elbows up, boys. Get ready for it. But it's been a lot of fun to have you guys here on Fishgistics today. As we go away, once again, this is all opinion-based. You can't bank on it, but it sure is a lot of fun to talk about it. We're going to go with the closing comments from start with Josh. Closing, what's next for you? What's going on next year? Make it quick and fun.
I'm just hanging out with my thumb out, man. So I think, from the sounds of it, sounds like, Mark said, don't make any plans for next year. So at the end of the race, I was like, okay, well, that tells me that I get the privilege to go with these guys again. I know that Matney, he's my homeboy, and I love driving with him too. And they've been talking about doing some stuff in the US. So maybe I get to go drive a little bit there if that happens. But for the most part, nothing's been solidified except for the fact, like I said, that, Mark and Dan have been kind of, alluding to the fact that they want me to back with them next year. So like that, and then just, concentrating on my businesses and my family and really getting my after being with these guys, getting more of my pre-run in order and a little bit more organized on my end. So I'm just that much more successful, maybe a little bit more testing. So I'm up to speed on the trucks a little bit better than just getting in them cold, and stuff like that. But I don't know. That's about it, man.
Right on. Danny, what about you? Next year, what's it look like for you? What's next?
Next year, doing all the Baja stuff, just doing San Felipe, the 500, the 400, and the 1,000, not doing anything in the States. I'm done. I'm not doing any lap races like the Mint or King of the Hammers next year. Just going to stick to Baja. And really at the 400 and the 1,000, I actually only went down for like a week before the race and pre-run everything once, maybe twice. But I think next year I'm going to do the same thing. Obviously I've got 2 boys at home now and a fiance, and we got a busy year next year, getting married in May. So my time and my energy's changed a little bit, but I still love racing. I'm going to go down there and put a good week's worth of pre-running in. And, if it's the same courses that we've done so many times, I can pretty much close my eyes and imagine what it's like. Just need to go down there and get a refresher. And, I know how to race a trophy truck. I know the pace. So going to stick to the 4 Baja races, going to do some pre-running and have some fun and really enjoy myself and hopefully get a win next year. And I think Josh is going to be a good asset to our team next year. Josh, you're probably going to race with me next year at the 1,000. So so, and maybe we might need a third driver. Maybe Matt can join us as a third driver. So we'll see how the map comes out for next year's 1,000, but I'm really, really looking forward to next year's 1,000. La Paz and Sonata, maybe it's 1,100 miles or 1,200 miles. That'd be really, really cool.
And Luke, you have, I'm sure, a similar story to tell. You got some big changes in your life.
Yeah. Similar to Dan, I'm going to race all 4 Baja races. And then we're also going to take the 83 all-wheel drive truck to Vegas Torino. So we're going to be at the Method Vegas Torino. They're really turning that into a great event. So we're looking forward to that. And so I'll be at Vegas Torino in the 4 Baja races. We're not going to make King of the Hammers this year. I think a few factors go into it. Personally, I'm ready for a little bit of a break. It's been like race to race, and developing the teams have been nonstop for a while. And just when I thought we're going to have a break, we're going testing in 2 weeks and going to continue to develop the all-wheel drive. So maybe no break, but we're not going to run KOH. We're going to do some testing with the truck, and then our first race will be San Felipe. Big goals for me this year. I really want to win the Baja 500. That's kind of the last one in trophy truck to round off the Triple Crown. So that's a big goal of mine. And then on top of that, I have a baby girl due 10 days before the Baja 500. So looking forward to that. Me and my wife are super excited. Can't wait to be a dad, and just hoping for a healthy baby, and then get down there and, hopefully the baby comes on time so we can get down there, do a lap of pre-running and go race. But I'm really looking forward to that. So some big changes next year. And then on top of that, in the next few months and next year's, Dan and I are going to continue working on DLM Real Estate, which is our company. And we've been working hard at that, building a lot of assets, building a lot of equity, and just really paving the future for ourselves and our families. And that's been really exciting. And it's not all racing here. It's not all, as everyone says, racing in the river for Luke. It's Dan and I are here every day working on DLM together, and we're going to continue developing that. So that's going to be a big push next year as well, is to continue to develop our business, continue developing the team. We're going to bring more stuff in-house on the team. So some components I'm not really just ready to share yet, but some stuff will be coming in-house. So we're going to continue to grow our team. I'm actually getting ready to post an ad that we're hiring, and going to keep pushing this race shop and the whole team. And, hopefully next year is a great year for the team and family.
Right on, Luke. Congratulations on the baby and all your success this year. We're going to end it with you, Rob, the legend, man. It's great to see you out there battling and winning. You're, of course, one of the best, if not the very best ever in our sport. I'm sure Luke's going to give you a run on that as he continues his career, as will some of the others. But what's next for you, Rob? What are you thinking? Are you going to bring your truck out? You're going to race the Score Series, racing in the United States? What are your thoughts?
Well, 2 jokes first. One, I'm waiting for Luke to post that ad so I can possibly get hired. Two,
all right.
2, I'm hoping Jen's late, and maybe Luke will call me because he can't make the Baja 500 and drive his truck. No, but real deal. I'm going to do the same thing I did this year, race the Mint 400 in my truck, and then Score, and just keep doing what I'm doing. Would love to figure out how to get all-wheel drive. I'm sure you're thinking about that too, Cameron. And then my son Caden's been racing a lot and kind of try to get his career going, more and more than it already is. Other than that, it's just, doing what I do. This has been a lot of years that I've done it, and I like doing it.
Right on. Well, it's great to have all of you guys here on Fishgistics today. Thank you for sharing the inside of what happens in the trophy truck racing, and for being a great part of the community. Rob, Josh, Dan, Luke, we thank you for making the time, as well as all of our guests that were on today. I hope everybody was able to glean a little bit of fun and information from everybody that shared fish. Congratulations once again on putting together a great panel of racers and following up with a great race and a great show.
I'm just glad everybody showed up. We didn't have one single person not show up, so that's a success, and it worked. So that's always good. But I do have one thing to say. I know Dan is up for this. If you are ever leading the race by 50 minutes again, you should stop in Valley T and get tacos. Because how awesome would that be if you just stopped at Valley T during the middle of the race? You get out, you go get a taco, eat your taco, get back in, and then win.
I actually thought about not stopping, getting out. Never turn the truck off in a race. You don't have to, but and I was in the speed zone, and I thought about when I was going by, it wasn't that crowded. So I thought it'd be really funny just like go off the speed zone and drive right by the taco stand and then cut back up. But I would have to do a U-turn and but it would have been funny. But
be a legend if you did that, dude.
That would have been damn. I had time. I should have done it. That would have been funny. But noted, Fish. If I'm leading the 1,000 by an hour again, I'll stop for tacos.
All right. Just make sure you send me the video clip so I can post it.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks everybody for coming on. It was cool.
And thank you, Fish, for all that you've been putting together, man. You've really changed how us as enthusiasts have been able to keep track of these races and know what's going on in our sport. It's really huge. So thank you.
It's fun, like during a race like this, I was talking to some of you guys, before you got in the car, after you got out. So it's always fun to, keep track of what everybody's doing. It makes it more exciting,
Well, for sure. And the fans love it, man. I mean, everybody goes, what's going on? But when you bring that little bit of, intimacy from these teams right into people's living room when they can't be there and stuff, it's really something special. And you've done a great job. And I just see it getting better for you. So congratulations on that. And thank you.
All right. Thank you.
You've earned that Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame award. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Luke.
No, I just said I second that because our sport is just absolutely dying for better coverage.
Thank you, Elon Musk.
Right on, you guys. Have a great day, and have a great holiday season. Everybody be safe, be sane. Love the ones you're with, and high fives and smiles all around. I wanted to say a special happy birthday today to Ox. He would have been 39 years old today. We lost him in 2011. My heart is with him. I think about him all the time. And I just thought I'd send that in parting wishes that everybody make sure you high five your buddies and tell them you love them.